The next segments are going to deal with street fighting attack scenarios. Okay, I'm going to explain. You already know how to get to a point of reference. You already know your weapons. You already know your objectives. What will happen now is, according to the attack that's coming in, you're going to have to be able to apply your weapons, to apply your strategies, to get to your point of reference and to work to your objective. The street attacks are learning tools to get to the point of reference. The point of reference is your ultimate objective. Thereafter, you have the options to do whatever needs to be done according to the scenario or according to what your objective is. We have chosen 18 hand-to-hand combat street attacks. Those are the most common attacks in the street. We are working from sucker punch to kicks to the groin to tackles to choke. All those scenarios are there to teach you to be able to coordinate your strategies into the point of reference. So while I'm actually using a scenario, this is only a learning tool to get to my point of reference. We're going to go from simple street attacks to more complex street attacks. Each one of them will bring a different dynamic into what I'm doing. Now, don't get stuck on the scenario. In other words, yes, at a certain segment I'll work on that scenario, but you got to remember, dynamics change in a fight. And the objective of the Agana system, and especially the fight system hand-to-hand combat, is to reach their point of reference, not to read the scenario. Because a lot of times the scenario is coming in, you're probably not going to be able to completely read the entire scenario coming in, and you're going to have to adapt as you go into the scenario. With that in mind, let's get to work. All right, throughout this series, you're going to hear me talking about a clock strategy. The clock strategy follows that Carlos, in relationship to me, is at 12 o'clock, and I'm the center of the clock. So here will be 3 o'clock, here will be 9 o'clock, and right behind me will be 6 o'clock. So you're looking 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock. A lot of times you'll hear me say, I'm going to move into 2 o'clock. There will be for me to position myself according to the relationship between the both of us. So you got 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. You got 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. Most of the time throughout the video series, I'm going to use the hours that are towards this half of the clock. A couple of them will go towards the back, but most of the time it'll be either 1 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. Each one of those hours have a relationship to right and left. 1 o'clock is the same thing as 11 o'clock, just it's on the right or left side. 2 o'clock is same thing as 10 o'clock, just right side, left side, and finally 3 and 9. Throughout this video series, I'm going to use both type of opponents. Sometimes I'll use Chris, which obviously is bigger than me and taller than me, and sometimes I'll use Carlos, which is in my same size bracket. It is important that you realize that your techniques, your strategies, your objective have to work regardless how big your opponent is. And in some cases, an opponent be bigger is actually work against him. The Agana system do not rely on strength versus strength. It is the strategies, the point of references, the objectives that make it possible that I'm completely ignoring the matter of strength. Most of the time when somebody's going to attack you, they're going to be bigger than you anyway. And if you start relying on strength within your training and within your drills, you're going to always be limited in the sense of, I'm going to be able to make this work if I am bigger or stronger than him. And again, in many cases, somebody being taller, just for an example, if I bring Chris in and I turn him as an objective, right now, him being taller makes it that he's arched, therefore it's actually working against him. So a lot of times you'll see me demonstrate with Chris, sometimes with Carlos. I want to illustrate that dynamic, that strength, size does not matter in the Agana system. The first attack we're going to deal with is probably the most common attack in a street fight. It's the sucker punch. It's the guy just throwing a fist in your face. A lot of people that are so-called trained martial artists still get confused or get surprised by this attack because they don't understand the dynamic of the stress when it's coming in, that they're not going to give you a chance to be prepared for it, and the shot is just coming at their face and they got overwhelmed with the violence that's behind it. Carlos is getting in a fight, and he already chose that his attack is going to be a fist right in my face. Right now, his objective is to punch me in the face. Regardless if I got in a fighting stance or maybe I'm just in a neutral stance, that punch is coming at me. This will introduce you to what we call primarily danger. The primarily danger in this attack is the line of fire of that punch coming right in my face. Therefore, I'm going to have to deal with the primarily danger first before I go into defense and counters. The primarily offense is that line of fire. See, if you take a laser in your imaginary line, there's a line that's coming right in my face. What I need to do is, I need to get out of that line of fire. Again, Carlos throws the punch, line of fire. If I'm in a neutral stance, I can do it from a neutral stance, or maybe if the fight was scheduled, I can do it from a fighting stance. It doesn't really matter. Okay, he comes in. I'm going to choose to get out of line of fire so I'm safe. My hand is going to check. In other words, I'm going to pick up my hand just to check. This is a check. Do not push. If you push, you redirect the attack. Just like it sounds, you're going to redirect something else. Me as a Nagana practitioner, when I saw that punch coming in, I should go, yes, I know exactly what he's going to do. He wants to punch me in the face. I want to bring him into his objective. In other words, I want him to be committed to his objective versus redirect his objective. As he comes in, boom, I'm going to take my shot to the rib. Okay, watch again. He came in, 1, 2. Okay, I check here and I shoot a piston right into his lower rib. Footwork wise, 11 o'clock, and I'm shooting my punch right here. Right now, what I basically did in the first engagement of his objective, his mind right now was, I'm going to punch Mike right in the face. As he commits to it, he thinks pain right here. That is called short-circuiting your opponent. In other words, you took away his objective right away by short-circuiting him, by bringing him to another section in his body by inflicting pain. So he came in 1 here. This automatically brings us to a point of reference right there. I grabbed him right away, I'm in a point of reference. From here, I go to work. The segment of going to work from here will be 3 knees. I'm going to knee, 1, 2, 3. Anywhere. From here, step, break his ankle. That was my objective at the moment. Again, Carlos came in, he threw that punch. Out, grab him. Point of reference. Make sure this hand is across his face so he cannot involve that hand. Right now, Carlos cannot punch me in the face. He cannot punch me in the body effectively. He can reach me, but no big deal. If you pay attention, Carlos is armed. If he tries to deploy that knife now with that hand, with the left hand, he can't do it effectively because I'll go already to work and I'll short-circuited by it. Again, so he comes in, out of line of fire, shoot, you counter attack. Offense, defense principle at the same engagement of the time that he threw his attack. Point of reference, violently. From here, 1, 2, 3 knees. You want to take him down? Go ahead, take him down. You want to break his ankle? Break his ankle. You want to schlock him out? Schlock him out. That will be up to your objective at the moment. All right, when Carlos throws his punch, I don't want to redirect it. if I redirect it just like it sounds, he's going to come in with the same weapon somewhere else. Okay, that's not good. Carlos had an objective to punch me in the face. I want him to be committed with that intent in the sense of his target is my face. In other words, the more he's committed to it, the more I'm going to dissolve the technique into my counter attack. In other words, I'm going to let him go to the route where he was going intently to begin with. That will create that I dissolve what he brings in into my counter attack. Also, in Nagana, we don't like to block. Blocking in Nagana is considered a last resort or a reaction that just happened to happen. In other words, it was not an objective for me to block. Why is that? If I go to block, it relies on timing. Because we are two people, it's very hard to time. When I meet him in the street, I don't know how fast he is, I don't know how slow he is. Therefore, for me to time that block is going to be almost impossible, and it's too much taking of a chance. Also, on a mathematical level, me to block, I only have 33% of success in that sense, because if I am slower, he's going to get his shot in. If I am faster, I'm going to pass my block and he's still going to get his shot in. Therefore, I only have 33% of success with blocking, versus if I get out of the line of fire, that is 100% out of blocking. So anytime you get out of the line of fire, that is considered 100% as far as the success ratio into the defense. The check is only there as a check. It is not a block. Attack number 2 will be a kick to the groin. Again, I'm going to have to deal with primarily danger. Carlos goes to throw a kick to the groin. The primarily danger here again is that line of fire. In other words, I'm going to have to find myself out of the line of fire of the kick to primarily deal with the attack. Thereafter, I can go into defensive counters, etc. So he comes in, I'm going to cut to 11 o'clock. Again, I'm cutting in to 11 o'clock. It is important here that you don't anchor this leg. In other words, only move this one and then you're going to eat that kick into the thigh. It's important that you clear both legs. All right, from here, I'm going to have a check. The check is this way. Do not go this way. You're going to jam your wrist and it's going to hurt. This way. Just like the check upstairs with the punch, it's the same check here. From here, I'm going to shoot right here. Now, I'm going to try to hit in the triangle that's under his ear. This is where you're going to stun him. In other words, he's going to see stars. When you stun him, you short circuit him. A lot of people punch you in the face. You punch somebody in the face here, if you got a good shot, you'll break his jawbone on this side. What you just did is you shield his face by breaking his jaw because it's numb. I want to hit here so it completely stuns him. Again, he comes in, one, and shoot here. From here, point of reference. I pin this hand, I grab here, I pull in. 3 knees, 1, 2, 3. And from here, I can go into one of my objectives. Either take him down, either break the ankle, or either terminate him. Again, first thing, out of line of fire. Again, out of line of fire with a check. From here, it presents my target. Again, from here, it presents my target. He's actually walking into my punch. Again, one, boom. From here, point of reference. Make sure you got a lot of his shirt, pull it across. Don't be sloppy on your point of reference. That's what's keeping you alive. This hand is pinned, so he cannot deploy that knife. If you grab here, he yanks out. If you grab above, he deploys his weapon. If you have it pinned here, he can do nothing. From here, 3 knees. 1, 2, 3. And break the ankle or go into one of your objectives. Attack number 3 will be an attack with a front choke. Chris is going to choke me from the front. Okay, primarily danger here has to be identified again. The primarily danger is the thumbs in my neck. Without the thumbs, there is no choke. In other words, that's a primarily danger. Therefore, I'm going to have to remove the thumbs before I start countering attack. I will do so by hooking by the wrist. Do not go by the forearms. If you try to go by the forearm, those thumbs are going to dig even more into your throat. I am going by the wrist. What I'm doing is I am plugging his wrist like so. I don't grab. If I grab his wrist, that brings a strength struggle. Most people are going to choke you from up front, are going to be bigger than you. So your strength means nothing. What you're going to do is you're going to plug and go in a triangle out and down in a jerking motion. What this will do, automatically, it will unplug the choke. Now, it is important that you don't rip the choke. If you rip the choke, now he air slaps me, he goes into a headbutt, and he goes to work. All right? Do not freeze hands. Whenever somebody puts the hands on us in Agana, we say yes. He basically gave up his weapons by grabbing me. So I'm here. The first thing I'm going to do is right here. Right now, primary danger is taken care of. I can breathe. Now comes the counter attack. This will all be done simultaneously. Chris comes in to choke me, and I knee him in the groin. Again, watch here. What I'm doing here is I'm unplugging, leaning backward and kneeing. It is super important that you lean back. If you stay erect and you knee him, his head will headbutt you in the face. And that's going to cost you to be short-circuit. In other words, I lean back, the same thing I do my knees in the hand-to-hand combat segment. So I protect myself from getting headbutt in the face. Right there. From here, I'm going to step in and elbow in the face. In other words, I'm overlapping. Again, he came to choke, one to the groin, and overlapping. Go on the other side, please, Chris. Again, I came one and overlapping. This brings me to a point of reference. From here, 1, 2, 3 knees, and one of the 3 objectives. Either break his ankle, take him down, or terminate him. Again, he comes in with a choke. 1, 2, point of reference. 1, 2, 3, and one of the 3 objectives. Now on this one, I did a different takedown that we covered earlier. Chris choked me. I went into the counter, into here, into the point of reference. Anytime I have this point of reference, my takedown, instead of me working hard and go over there, all I gotta do is shove this down. If I need to give him a shot to loosen him up, that's fine. And now I'm gonna piston down his head, shoving him down and bring him down right to here. All right, so you have to find a way to adapt according to the situation, work as less hard as possible, and inflict as much damage as possible. This time, Chris is going to come and choke me, and he's going to shove me backward. Again, I'm going to have to find my primary danger, what exactly it is. In this case, my primary danger is no longer the choke. It is first me being off balance. Because if I unplug him, he will come down on top of me. Therefore, primary danger is me getting off balance. I will deal with it as he comes in by moving sideways. As I move sideways, what happens is I adjust my leverage. From here, I'm going to come above and unplug the choke. Watch again. Slow motion, please. He comes in, first sideways, shove, and from here, unplugging. As I unplug, I need to go as close as possible to his wrist. Don't do this. Don't go here and go against his hand because he's going to shove those thumbs in. I go as close as possible to the wrist so that thumb gets unplugged, which was my secondary danger. From here, I'm going to drop and hug myself. The hugging myself is a concept that I'm going to trap if possible, not trap as an objective. If I trapped him, bingo. If I trapped one hand, good too. If I didn't trap anything, that's fine as well. My objective is to inflict damage. So Chris comes in, position myself, unplug, hug. I got the two hands fine. Elbow, from here, point of reference. 1, 2, 3, and one of your objectives, if it's breaking the ankle, they'll be breaking the ankle. Again, he comes in, 1, trap if possible, elbow, point of reference. 1, 2, 3 knees. From here, you want to take down, you take it as you go. Okay, pay attention. I'm going to bring you to a couple issues that needs to be addressed. If Chris comes in and shoves me backward and I am right-handed, push, I'm going to go on this side. If I am left-handed, I am going to go on this side. So I end up attacking with my strong elbow. Because the technique is ambidextrous, anytime the technique involves two hands on the neck, it's considered ambidextrous. In other words, I can choose which side I'm going to go. You're always going to go where your weapons are. In other words, you got the choice. Also, on the first scenario, it was without a push, and I chose to do this. Now, on the first scenario, I can choose, without Chris pushing, I can choose to do this as well. The reason why I don't do so, anytime the Haganah practitioner has an option to tie up two hands to begin with, he will do so. If Chris doesn't push now, and I choose to do this one, while I do this, he can deploy a weapon. Take out your knife. And while I come to elbow him, he's got a knife out. Therefore, put your knife back. If I chose to do this one, he could not deploy that knife. All right, so anytime you can tie up his two hands, you do so. Anytime the technique is ambidextrous, you choose which side you're going to take it so your strong hand takes over the encounter and the engagement. Attack number 5 is going to deal with a choke that's coming from a side angle. Chris is coming in and choke from the side. The choke, the primary danger on the choke is the front hand. If I remove that front hand, there is no more choke. In other words, that back hand is just giving a massage. What I'm going to have to do is unplug that hand. That will be done again by my hand cupping right by his wrist. Avoid going by the shoulder, by the forearm. It's not going to work. It's just going to dig into it deeper. Right by the wrist. What I'm going to do is, as I unplug, I'm going to lower my perimeter and I'm going to secure him to me. It is important that you secure him to you. As soon as somebody puts the hand on you, they establish that they're attacking you. It is the Haganah objective to always contain the attacker, demolish him, and spit him out. I don't want to repel him. In other words, I don't want to push him away, because then he'll come with a scenario that